Joining me now to share the progressive perspective on Tuesday's election outcomes is Maurice Mitchell, the National Director of the Working Families Party. Mo, thank you so much for coming back to debrief all of this with me on Amplified. And I got to say that as I was watching Tuesday, I was actually on air all night here at BNC as the results were all rolling in. And I was frustrated and furious at the way that, it seems to me that Democrats don't necessarily lose because Democrats don't stand for something. They just lose because they don't talk to the right people all the time. But I'm interested in, your perspective and what you were looking for. I was a bit disappointed, but what can we learn about Tuesday that we can strategize around moving forward?
Well, number one, it's really good to be here. And, I think there's a lot. So the way that you framed it, I think is right. It's a mixed bag, right? There definitely were some hard-fought losses. But I mean, we had some great successes as progressives, and that we could build upon. I think one of the things that we could learn from Buffalo, the direction it went in a direction that we didn't want, but it shows that when corporate Democrats team up with the GOP and Trumpists, it's very difficult to win races. And I think folks within the Democratic Party are very short-sighted. People like India Walton are the future of our politics. The fact that they didn't see India's victory in the primary as an opportunity, I think says a lot about some of the troubles within the Democratic Party, some of the strategic challenges within the Democratic Party. However, on the flip side, a few months ago in spring, Bashora Jones became the first Black woman mayor of St. Louis. Larry Krasner defeated his police-backed primary challenger. And then last night, when you look at New York City, for example, so when you look at the totality of the races in New York City, Brad Lander, a progressive, is going to be New York's comptroller. Antonio Reynoso is going to be the Brooklyn Borough president. When you look at the New York City city councils, the most progressive, most diverse city council in the history of the city, Michelle Wu is going to be the first elected woman of color, first elected Asian American woman in Boston. And there's other cities that, we should be talking about. Ed Gainey in Pittsburgh, Malik Evans in Rochester, Justin Bibb in Cleveland, and then we can go to Atlanta. Progressives like Liliana Bakhtari in Detroit. There were a number of progressives, Gabriela Santiago Romero. And so I think there's a lot for progressives to be excited about. In Dayton, which is the third largest city in Ohio, Shanice Turner-Schloss had a victory. So again, when you look at all of the races in its totality, and there's still a lot for us to process, we're only a few days out from Election Day, there's a lot for progressives to be excited about.
So you just made me hopeful, and you made me hopeful because I like progress. And as I'm thinking about what was successful, who was successful, and who wasn't successful, the previous segment I was just talking to Aisha Mitchell over in Minnesota about how the loss there on the ballot measure to ultimately create a public safety system rather than continue to fund policing, it failed. But did it fail? Because 48% actually came out in support of it. And like what you're saying is that a lot of people won, even though some of the big picture races like New York City mayor went to someone who is now, essentially a top cop who is not a progressive. And then, of course, Virginia was just a lost cause. So I wonder if you could share with us about the messaging strategy and the direction that is going for progressives, and even, where we might be winning, what are we winning on, and where we didn't win, where we actually made progress maybe on messaging.
Yeah, well, let me start with that last point, right? Where we didn't get the electoral victory that we wanted, what can we make of that, right? And, I have two words for you. Cori Bush. I have two other words for you. Tashara Jones, right? Those are two Black women progressives who ran for the seats that they now had twice, right? They ran
twice.
We didn't get the victory, right? Built on that electoral coalition that they ran with the first time and then won, right? And so what I could tell you about, for example, in Buffalo was like yesterday, that India Walton and a group of a packed room of WFP activists. We're strategizing, evaluating, and India's not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. When I look at the results, so India broke 40%, right? When I look at the results in Minneapolis, broke more than 45%. Like, think about marriage equality. A few years ago, people didn't think marriage
Yes.
equality would ever happen. There were ballot measures that lost, right? Then eventually there were ballot measures that succeeded. Then there were court actions, and now it's the law of the land. I think we're seeing that as it relates to how we understand policing and public safety. It to me, it's an inevitability, and we're in that moment where we've built enough and we gathered enough power where we're actually getting on the ballot, and we're getting close to majorities of voters agreeing with us. And so if it didn't happen this
Yeah.
year, it surely is going to happen in future years. So that's how I'm kind of looking at the big picture in terms of messaging. I think it's critical for progressives to be clear about the vision that we want, right? One of the things that I think we saw in Virginia is that when you're running against somebody who isn't even on the top of the ticket anymore, and somebody who isn't even your opponent, that means you're not talking about who you are and the vision of Virginia or the vision of the world or the country that you want. And look, all of the proposals that are being debated in Washington right now, paid family leave, taxing the wealthy, these are very, very popular proposals, not just with progressives, but with everybody. Some of these proposals are polling at over 70, over 80%. And so it makes sense for progressives who have the popular policy direction to run on those things, and to run all those things in a way that's understandable to everyday people. I think that's a winning combination. The last thing I'll say is that when you run with people who have authentic experiences, who could actually speak based on their experience about what's at stake, I think then you're able to have victories.
I think about this a lot because you're absolutely right. The issues that are being debated right now in the Build Back Better plan, the quote unquote social spending bill, are highly popular with the people. The only reason that we're talking about them right now is because Bernie Sanders completely has transformed the platform of the Democratic Party, because he has run a number of times for president and lost, but in losing, won, especially when he first ran against Hillary Clinton, and losing shifted the entire conversation. We're talking about, all kind of policies that we would have never put out there. Now there's all this support now for expanding, Medicare. And there's so many different things that wouldn't have otherwise come up. I wonder, though, the truth is that the track record for, say, his Justice Democrats or others is still slim, right? How do you, as the head of a PAC, translate some of this momentum around the public energy and support for the issues into some more electoral wins in big places?
Well, look, I think if we take a step back, that the momentum is on our side. Look, a few years ago, the idea of having anybody in Congress that were really independent, that were willing to challenge, that were willing to challenge the congressional leadership, the idea of a progressive caucus of the size that we have now, under real leadership that's willing to hold the line, right? That has to do so much with the choice that people on the grassroots have made, so that we have people like Cori Bush and AOC and Jamal Bowman, and many other like independent progressives, in the House, so that we could actually have this conversation. Like one of the things that I want people to remember is that there are folks in the House that didn't even want to have the conversation around Build Back Better. And the reason we're having it right now is because of those progressives. So I think, number one, Democrats need to deliver. So this debate around Build Back Better, like, we need to get Build Back Better over the hump, right? The more than $1.5 trillion worth of social spending, that is going to transform people's lives. And then they could campaign on those victories. They could campaign on those investments in people and communities. Now, if what people understand of Democrats is that they basically argue with each other about things that are non-controversial in their policy platform, then I think they're going to experience some more pain in 2022, right? And I think it's going to be incumbent upon them to figure out how to align around these things that are very, very popular. The only people it's not popular with are the corporate lobbies. And we know the Republican Party is wholly captured by the corporate lobbies, but there's still folks within the Democratic Party that certainly are captured by the corporate lobbies. And so the independent side of the Democratic Party is going to have to prevail in these legislative parties.
Yep. It seems to me as long as we keep focusing on the small p in politics and keep the people at the heart of all the campaigning, even though we may not win today, we are constantly making progress and moving forward. Mo is heading up the effort to do so at the Working Families Party. Thank you so much, Maurice Mitchell, for being here. And I'm so excited to see you, and we'll have you back a lot on Amplified.